course, Facebook. How you doing? Scarpads from Scarpads Domain with another great episode 5 of Link and Scarpads Got Issues. We're never resolving these issues. We will always have them. You can take that to the bank. Tonight, we are discussing a single event, a single bullet that has implications after it kills a scientist that staggers throughout the entire Marvel universe. We're talking J. Michael Straczynski's Bullet Points from 2006. And what to do that with, the only person that actually has read this thing and want us all to read it, my co-host Link. How's it going, Link?
It's going good. It's going good. I was starting to make some coffee. I came back downstairs. The coffee, I didn't put it on the right handle, so the coffee was everywhere. Then my phone wouldn't connect. But I'm good. I'm good.
Well, that's why you were late.
That's why I'm really late. Yeah, honestly,
that's all
I can't start without my coffee.
We normally record. The only reason you're seeing these two guys live and in color would be because we wanted to accommodate our special guest tonight, and I'm glad we did. It's Fable.
Station.
In front of his rather large pyramid wall of comics back there. So I can't believe when I see a stack that high from floor to ceiling, and you haven't read tonight's book. Neither have I. This is the first time for me.
So many.
First time for you, and not now. How many times have you read this? The second time, or Link?
I've read this a few times throughout the years. When I was 18, that's when I kind of was like, I got my first job, first car. So when I became like a weekly warrior, and this was like one of the series that came out around that time. So it's a profound series for me in my comic taste, should I say. So I've read it a few times.
Yeah, 2006, it looks like 2007, January to May, 5-issue series. J. Michael Straczynski, who I love from, well, not only comic books, he wrote The Hulk, Rising Stars, among others.
Yeah.
Of course, I know him from TV, of course. He wrote, created, and produced Babylon 5, which is one of my favorite sci-fi series of the 90s, and probably it's up there as like in the top 5 of sci-fi series ever. Of course, before that, he did.
Oh, I gotta check that out.
He did Captain Power. I don't know if you guys remember Captain Power.
What is it?
It was a Mattel toy line. It was like an animated sci-fi cartoon, and he wrote that. JMS allowed.
Wow.
Captain Power. There was a big line of toys back in the 80s or something like that. But Bullet Points, is telling the what if story. Well, it's not even a what if. I guess it is.
It's a what if.
What if a single bullet, a German spy, kills this Dr. Erskine, who's going to be the creator of the super soldier, Steve Rogers, who's waiting there to get injected when the doctor gets killed instead of Actor, and he's the only one, of course, with the serum in his head. So they decide the whole super soldier thing, scrap it, which leads to inversions in the Marvel universe, of course. We got instead of Steve Rogers being Captain America, we're getting
Iron Man.
Iron Man, yeah. And it goes through Peter Parker, it goes through
Reed Richards, Bruce Banner.
Bruce Banner, right.
Stephen Strange.
Yeah, I guess Stephen Strange. You don't see too much of him.
He's not a prominent character, but yeah.
He's in there. But there's also a score of Marvel superheroes that don't get affected. So some of the ones outside, of course, like Thor, and inside like Submariner, the X-Men. So there are a pantheon of heroes, but it seems like in this version of what happened after 1940, there really isn't a lot of heroes. Heroes didn't even though they had Iron Man, heroes are not as prevalent as they were in the universe we used to.
Right.
It was then at the very end of the story, they all have to kind of come together because Galactus comes down. So
he was inevitable.
Right. So at the beginning of the story, I guess we're talking about the one scientist who had the super serum that is going to resonate throughout the Marvel universe. Throughout the book, we focus on the other characters, but I think the one that we really focus on a lot is Peter Parker, who is now the Incredible Hulk. who's basically another one man that gets ostracized throughout the whole book, and in the end becomes the savior and the linchpin. So it's that, I think, that comparison of like how one man can death by a bullet, one stray bullet,
Butterfly effect.
butterfly effect can unravel everything around it, and how one character that's reviled ultimately spurns on what happens to save the earth. Now, there's not a lot spent, I think, with a lot of these characters. I don't think they're not really in depth.
Yeah, I was gonna say I don't even know if there. I would say there's a main character, to be honest, because Steve Rogers,
Right.
Peter Parker, Reed Richards, Bruce Banner doesn't get as much page time as the other three, but I almost feel like it's all focused around those central three characters.
And you get JMS really doing. I love this part of the book is the fact that it's like a trek, even though it's some of its alternate history. It's a trek through history of what the Bullets have done throughout the world and the country, and how that leads to everything
Leads to the outcome.
Leads to the outcome, and how everything else is involved. And what I like about the book is, while we understand the main theory that bullets are bad, they kill people, it's not preachy. It allows you to see, go through history and see everything, see the results of what this does, and kind of make up your own mind.
Right, not forcing you to pick
which
us.
is what all good sci-fi, or I think fantasy, does. It doesn't try to tell you a position. It allows you to see all sides and then judge for yourself. So I really enjoyed the book. First time reading it. I thought the artwork done by is it Edward?
Tommy Lee Edwards.
Tommy Lee Edwards was really good. It was appropriate because it was drab and
realism a little bit too,
like non-colorful version. It wasn't a superhero book. So while all these superheroes were in it, we didn't get them looking like superheroes. We get them looking like more like real people, and kind of fitting the surroundings. So I think the artwork and the story were really well written. I was really surprised, like, how much they packed into 5 issues. We've read some books, even going up to Newburn, which we both liked, was 8 issues. Instead, feel like it dragged a little bit.
Staying in the same
right. This was tight. It told its story. It went through 5 issues, and then it was over with. So it was a good, interesting read. So I'm gonna go over to Fable. This is Fable's first time reading it. Your impressions, I guess.
Yeah, this is a good what if story. I do consider it like a what if story.
Yeah.
There's been recent what ifs that are structured just like this one, even though this one's not called a what if, but it looks like they took that from this. And yeah, I agree. The artwork it has that realistic but real gritty texture. It's a historical account of things over the years, so you're right. The artwork does fit that way of storytelling. I think it definitely hits upon like some of the more pivotal things that happen in the Marvel universe. I think the super soldier serum is like always touched upon in all of these kind of like alternate tales, or Galactus coming to Earth. That seems to be big and a linchpin in the timelines of the MCU. Always referenced, even in the recent what ifs, they reference Galactus coming to Earth. So
yeah, we kind of get the origins a little bit there too.
Yeah, I loved that. The whole concept of a single bullet, changing so much yet not
stays the same.
Everything. Because these guys are always destined to be heroes. They just were different kind of heroes,
different costumes.
At the end of the day, yeah. But the more interesting death to me was not the scientist, but rather Peter Parker's uncle, Ben Parker. I thought that was the interesting twist, and the death that really affected things, because no Spider-Man, who is arguably the heart of the 616, in my opinion, represents everything that the heroes are in the Marvel universe. With him not having that lesson of his uncle dying, I mean, you see what happens.
Yeah, and like we said, it was a bleaker world, and I think that because of the lack of Peter Parker as Spider-Man is a result of that.
Yeah, which is also another big pivotal moment. Would you say, right? Like Ben Parker's death he's the only one that, I mean, even though they probably brought him back in different alternate forms or whatever, he's kind of like
He
stayed dead for a
stays dead.
reason.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
you kind of have to keep him dead. It would kind of be sacrilegious to bring him back, but it was interesting.
Honestly, yeah.
To see him die earlier here. The only thing that was a weird stretch is that May remembered him like 20 years later, and he was such a big pivotal, like, like weight on her shoulders for such a short relationship. But
Right.
it was
True.
still good. It was still good. It still did what it had to do. It was great. I liked it.
Glad to hear that. As you guys probably know, I loved it. What was interesting when I first discovered the series when it was coming out, they were about 3 issues in, and I kept seeing, like, I saw Steve Rogers on the cover and him holding the scientist, but I was like, like you Fable said, that's a linchpin of the Marvel Universe. They've done this kind of story before, but it wasn't until I was flipping through issue 3, and it's the one with Reed Richards on the cover, but it looks like Nick Fury. You think it's Nick Fury if you're not reading the story. It's a dude, dark hair. He looks like a younger Nick Fury, a little darker, shaggier hair, but he's got the eye patch. So when I was reading that, I was like, wait a minute, this isn't Nick Fury. This is Reed Richards. Reed Richards is the Nick Fury of this universe. That blew my mind and made me go back and track down the other 2 issues. But like I think it's cool that you said it earlier, Fable. Like things change, but there's a constant in. Like Spider-Man's always gonna be there in some shape or form. Captain America, well, not Captain America, but these heroes are, like you said, destined to be heroes, even if they don't become the heroes that we're used to them as. And it blew my mind that just how the I love books that kind of touch on the legacy or try to make the legacy of the Marvel Universe, DC Universe cohesive. Earth X is a good one that did something like that. And I love that, it was like it was so almost so simple, like what? But like how easy this all worked. Like it didn't bother me. I was like, man, what? Captain Steve Rogers is Iron Man, and because of something, the doctor dying, Peter Parker lost his uncle, and somehow he's the way they all become, like Peter Parker becomes a Hulk. It all makes sense. It's not like something super far-fetched, and it's just crazy that no one had ever thought of that before. And I don't know. It was just so simple. It's brilliant. But I love it. I wish we could see more of this world almost. But then it would kind of, I think it would lose, this story would lose some of its strengths if it's kind of one and done tell. But I think it was super fascinating that, I don't know. I really love this. A1 work just from the art. I love how it's realistic, but yet it's not too realistic, like when you see Silver Surfer gliding around or Galactus, it seems palpable, like it seems like it could fit in that world that they had built. So yeah. I love this series. I wish we had more series like this, that it's it's like on paper you're like, what? Reed Richards is director of Shield, Steve Rogers is Iron Man, Peter Parker's the Hulk, Bruce Banner Spider-Man. It sounds goofy, but when you read it, it works so well. And I wish there were more books. There probably are, but I wish it was a little bit more mainstream, or something they're doing nowadays.
Yeah, I mean, they just in the end, the characters all remain true to the character, to the to their alter ego. I mean, the Hulk version of the Hulk and Iron Man and Captain America and all that. The character, the hero, stayed the same. It's the motivations of the people that are encompassing them being different, and what leads them is slightly altered, but does definitely fit into,
their MO.
What came before their MO.
Yeah.
And in the end, the character themselves act like you would think the character should act.
Right. Even with Peter Parker being a little bit more rebellious and brash, and he's a kid with a heart. He just didn't have that guidance that but he still had a heart and he was trying. So
but then his alter ego, the Hulk, stayed true to what the Hulk is.
What the Hulk is, right? There wasn't super deviations and stuff like that.
And he taught the lesson. Oh, my bad.
No, I was just gonna say real quick. One of the more interesting bits I wish they would have elaborated on was the Stephen Strange's Wolverine. Like, instead of going to Tibet and becoming the master of mystics, he went to Shield and they fixed his hands for him. And it showed him like popping
Right.
Wolverine claws.
He was
Thought that was kind of interesting.
he got it's like it's weird. It's almost like I wonder if this came out. When did the Doctor Strange movie come out?
It's 2016.
Oh, so it was that late. Yeah. It almost seems like they wanted it. Putting Doctor Strange in this book was a little bit of an afterthought. It's like they squeezed him into a couple scenes, but he didn't have a lot to do.
No, yeah, he was just to show like the differences in that because of the changes in the universe. My bad, Fable. Where's your?
No, I was just gonna say that Peter learned his lesson from killing Iron Man.
You're right. That was his.
Yeah, that was his Ben Parker moment, and he decided to live in exile, but when time called for action, he came out of exile, did what he had to do.
And was the greatest hero of that universe, debatably. He's the one that kind of without Peter coming into the fray, Silver Surfer would have never had that change of heart, and the Earth would have been screwed over. So in this universe, it's crazy that Spider-Man is the greatest hero of the Marvel universe, aka Peter Parker. But in this universe, Peter Parker was still like the greatest hero. I thought that was super interesting. The themes that carried over.
And it's a good thing the Hulk was in a cave with a good communication sound system, so he had
a TV set up and that radio. All that
was
shit.
Nice, yeah. He had it going. Exile doesn't mean you have to be fucking uncomfortable. Let me tell you that. All right, well, we have a second here. We'll take a look at the chat. Hey, Dylan, thanks for coming in tonight, my man. Dylan. Of course, Evan. How you doing, Evan? Perry, how you doing today? Dr. Doom's fan club, who was on here a couple of weeks ago. We got to get him back. Next time we need some more Doom stuff to come out. We got to do that Book of Doom. It's 1,000 pages. We'll get it done.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, was that the 1,000 page one?
Road Collecting. How you doing tonight, Sal? How you doing, Sal? Well, thank all you guys for coming in here and enjoying it. So, I guess we talked about the artwork a little bit.
Who did you? Let me ask real quick. Who's you guys' favorite change among or what kind of blew your mind the most with the changes in terms of characters? Like for me, it was Reed Richards as director of Shield. Because it makes sense, but I was like, what? Reed Richards is Nick Fury? So, but I'll go with Reed Richards.
Yeah, you're probably right. I mean, I think his were the most surprising. Everybody else, I mean, Steve Rogers slid into Iron Man because he was there. Same with the other characters, but to get the other members of the Fantastic Four dying, which I didn't expect, which kind of leads him to become the director of Shield. Was an interesting twist because I was thinking how are they going to handle? Of course, I'm disappointed a little bit that we didn't get to see this world's version of the Thing, especially with the Hulk there.
Who's not to say when it come later in some shape or form,
But yeah, them killing him off, I think was a brave choice, and then him turning. So I would say you're right. I think Nick Fury was probably the most.
That turn, the fact that in that world, because he was almost like a celebrity before, instead of just being the brilliant inventor of the Fantastic Four, he was helping Steve Rogers work on his armor throughout the war. So he already had he had some clout to his name by the time he was going to space, which led to someone sabotaging his spaceship, and which led to him losing his eye, becoming the director of Shield. Just those crazy connections that all stem from that bullet is just blows my mind. How simple it is. Like the concept is, what if, the summary of the concept is what if the guy who created the super soldier serum didn't give it to Steve Rogers? And what if he was killed before he could do that? Like what would, and all these crazy ass changes happen because that makes sense. Like it still blows my mind.
Yeah.
My bad. I'm going on rants. Fable, do you have a favorite?
Oh no, I gotta agree with you there, man. Having Reed Richards taking on that persona of Fury was badass. I was like,
it was.
Like Reed Richards is the lead head of Shield. I mean, all the technology that they already hoard and keep and all this stuff. Imagine you have one of the smartest guys in the world in this thing. How dangerous could Shield be under this guy? Plus, he has a chip on his shoulder because his family died. If there was something,
and Rogers.
There was something to be continued from this world. That's the world. That's the part of this.
Council of Reeds needs to touch upon that.
Fury Reed.
I think the interesting
that would be. Yeah, I agree.
Reed Richards is always portrayed as kind of I won't say a
Uptight
pacifist.
and
Well, not a pacifist, but a guy that's not. Wouldn't expect him to be involved with the military. He's a scientist. He
right.
does things for them. He shuns away from the military, taking a lot of, being involved in a lot of stuff. And for him now to be the military is a huge change.
Can you I liked it. They didn't show too much of it, but I liked how they depicted the helicarrier. I think if can you bring it up? It's like the very last issue, but it was kind of like I guess since it took place in the 60s. Yeah, it was like a balloon almost, like one of those big, not a balloon, but it had that design, a very old school design, which I thought was interesting. And it had when it started up, it sounded like they had giant fans because it was like boom, boom, boom.
See, where is it? Yeah. Oh yeah, I think it's. I'm getting to it. Let me bring it up.
I mainly picked this book because I'm trying to get Fable into this era of Marvel, which I know he has a few things, but I want him to take that deep dive with me and the Ultimate Universe. I'm going to select something for that next. It's probably at the beginning of this. Oh, no, go back. Oh, no, you're right. Because the Boom Boom was the Hulk.
Right there.
There we go. It's such a, it's like that big base at the bottom. Like
it looks like a dirigible, like a Zeppelin almost.
Yes.
It takes,
modernized
yeah, basically it looks like it took the front of what the carrier really looks like and just smooshed it onto a Zeppelin.
Yeah. Yep. I thought it was interesting. They had some unique designs in here. I wish we would have known more about Bruce Banner's transformation. They didn't really go too deep into that. Like they alluded that he's kind of like he's more
yeah.
And he's not as human, I guess. Like it seems like the medicine he's taking kind of keeps him at a human level.
They didn't really go into it all that much.
And I wanted to see his power set too.
But Richard's here with the eye patch is cool, looking all Snake Plissken.
Yes, that's he does. Yeah, that might have been the influence they're going for at the time because Snake Eater was coming out around there.
Now, quick question. I don't know if I missed it or they didn't say it or whatever, but who did they ever mention who planted the bomb on Reed Richards' shuttle?
I think it was just, I don't know if they was significant, but I think it was just like some German from that had shot, not the same dude, but I assumed it was just like maybe Russians or something like that. Yeah,
this is a big ass spider. Man, look at that fucking thing.
Yeah.
That's a serious. That's like a whole spider lips there.
I like the colors in this too. Like that panel in particular, the orange and the purple.
Wasn't quite sure what was going on here, other than I guess he was like his powers were, coming in. And...
He was transforming. So what I got from it is like when he first got bit, he didn't the panels don't really show it, but he didn't immediately transform. He just kind of went about his day and shit. And then one day he, like maybe a few days later, a week later or something, he had all that webbing around him and kind of freaked out.
There's a better look at the
ship. Oh, the helicarrier? Yeah.
Kind of like a Zeppelin with a thing.
Yeah, I thought that was super unique.
Yeah, J. Michael Straczynski, man, he's very inventive guy. He's his plots are interesting. I wouldn't say they're dense, but they're
thoughtful.
They have some meat to them.
Yeah.
So I mean, I really like the writing here. I think the writing is very sharp.
There was one series, Rising Stars, you mentioned earlier. I used to love that. I haven't read it in some years, but I loved it as a kid because it was like all these, like 100 and something, like maybe like 100 people, 100-something people were all concepted at the same time. This meteor came over this town, and everyone that was conceived at that moment was born with like powers, and they all grew up with like their separate powers. They were kind of like celebrities and shit. Some powers weren't even that useful, like, and people just live normal lives. But it was like essentially like when one of them died, the rest of the power is like the one. With Jet Li, if you ever see it, who's trying to take out all the different versions of himself because it made him more powerful. If one of the heroes died, the rest of them got stronger. Like, and eventually, like the book kind of starts off is like someone's going around killing I think they're called the specials, and someone's killing the specials, and like the only person who can really kill a special is a special. So it got crazy. Like eventually all of them got OP'd, and I recommend that series. It was good.
Oh, yeah.
But
time ago, yeah. The other thing I was going to say, I guess let's talk about a little bit here. You mentioned it before, is the ending. So basically, we do get the Hulk is kind of the guy who is the main center of like, and Peter Parker, of course, this overall change in the character. Peter Parker goes from this like street thug to
Like a
I
street
don't,
thug. But
yeah, well, kind of like a bad boy type,
yeah,
neighborhood
he was
guy causes
rebellious.
problems, rebellious. Um, and kind of redeems himself by saving the world. But I'm wondering if, like, we saw through the book that the Hulk was ostracized. People don't want anything to do with him. He's living in a cave with Cable and stuff. I guess the question is,
Okay.
was there enough there with what he did to make the Silver Surfer do what he did? Because the whole end of the book hinges on the Silver Surfer having this epiphany moment where he goes, "Oh shit! Oh, look what he did! I'm just fuck you," and he just gives him the old "I didn't fuck you," and then he leaves because he wants to go just say fuck it. These guys are too much trouble. I'll come back to him later. But do you think the Silver Surfer would have done that by just seeing what the Hulk did? And did you feel that was earned? I guess.
I I personally do because Norman Rad was a dude he was watching this character say fuck it all and sacrifice himself at the behest of everyone else, and that's essentially what he did when Galactus came. Like he gave away his life, his everyone he knew, his humanity, or not humanity, but he became Silver Surfer. Silver Surfer became Galactus's servant, and so he kind of he sacrificed everything to save the people he loved, and that's what he saw in the Hulk. Like the Hulk was getting blasted by Galactus, and he knew he was dying. Like Silver Surfer could tell he was dying, and he still just kept coming back. And so he was like, "Yo, any planet that has a creature that will." I get what you mean. What? Because every hero was essentially trying to fight Galactus. Why was it the Hulk that kind of made him stand out?
Well, I think it's because the Hulk's really kicked his ass, but the other guys died pretty easily.
The Hulk didn't get one hit in it. If you go back and look at it, the
No,
Hulk didn't land a hit on him, but he kept getting up and just taking the hits.
Right,
And
he pissed,
even
right.
when he was dying,
He pissed
Norman
me
Red
off.
respected that.
Right.
He sacrificed himself to try and save the people he loved, and this is what Norman Red did. So I think that resonated with him on that level. So I think it was earned. You could pick holes in it, but overall, I think it fit.
What do you think, Fable? You think it was earned?
Yeah, I think it was earned. It's just the format of the book. It's just the way the story's being told. It's telling you what happened. It's not giving you. It's not making you
Right.
live in those moments of it, like the emotion,
Right.
because that could be a whole issue of an
The
arc.
inside
If
of
that's the
right.
arc of we're
Yep.
telling, but no, he's recounting. It's a lot of narration. So it's
Yep.
just the next.
The bullet points.
This is what happened. Yeah, like because of this. Now, did the art come through for you? Maybe that's what happened. Maybe when those panels are happening, it didn't earn it for you.
It
You know what I
wasn't
mean?
as dramatic
But
as the moment was.
yeah, but I thought it did for me because I like the shot of him melting, sort of like he's all
Yep.
melting.
There. Yeah.
Yeah, and
Yeah, we
you
get him
see
kind of like
Surfer.
his skin's falling off
Yeah,
and shit.
you see the Surfer just looking
Batman's over
at him.
here.
Observing.
And,
Yeah.
yeah, and you could just see the gears turning in the way that's drawn. So I think it worked, but I could understand why anybody would say maybe it was rushed or something like that.
Yeah.
But it's because
yeah.
of the format, man.
Right. Well said, brother. And he took off because he Silver Surfer destroyed his machine. He's got to go get more parts, bro. We don't know how
Right.
far his ship was. And he was like, "You guys aren't worth the hassle. I'll come back."
Well, that's right. I'll come back, kill you later.
Yeah. There.
Yeah.
Now, do you feel?
Galactus will always be that.
Do you guys think can Galactus kill the Hulk though?
No.
I feel like
He
Galactus
always comes back.
Well, he always comes back.
Yes, now he does. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, he's immortal. So, I mean, can he be killed? Guy went down easy, punk bitch.
No, I mean, shit. He kept taking everyone was getting hit by like blasts of Galactus, not necessarily direct full on, but he was like exploding shit around them. They're getting hit by the splash damage of that. The Hulk was taking full on blast, bro, just continuously, and kept walking towards it. Like Hulk was a beast,
laying in the muck there.
Oh yeah, and Silver Surfer. I was kind of surprised that killed Silver Surfer, to be honest, though. Yeah, see, and then you can see some heroes stayed the same. Like Daredevil, Matt Murdock was Daredevil. Nothing changed with him. The X-Men were still the
Yeah, there
X-Men.
was a whole bunch of them that stayed the
Right.
same, which makes sense. You know, it wouldn't
Yeah,
affect
because it
anybody.
doesn't directly. Yeah.
No.
Right.
So yeah, I was happy. I mean, overall, I think the book I was a great read. It was a fast read. I loved the story it told. It was tight. The characters were done well. The artwork was really good. You're right. I would like to see like another look at this, like a follow up would have been cool.
And touch on how we said, because you would like to see a thing. It could still happen because remember who became Iron Man at the very end of that series? Tony Stark.
Right. Anybody become it doesn't just because.
But it wouldn't be Ben Grimm. Right. Yes, thing. Yeah.
Right.
But maybe Ben had some children in the series
else,
we didn't know about. His sons grew up and became the thing somehow.
Yeah, it definitely would be a great revisit if they ever did a sequel.
Yeah, I'd love to, even if it wasn't directly that world, but you could tell it was inspired that world, but there were a few slight variations or something that was different. I would like to see that kind of world explored again.
You still see Straczynski writing comics here and there. So it'd be great if he could come back and kind of redo this one. So I guess
go
ahead.
I was gonna say he retired. I know he's doing AWA, but I think that was what got him back because I know he had stopped doing comics for a few. Maybe it wasn't that long, but because he said he was like something was wrong with his hand, so he was which I thought was weird because I was like, well, if you can't write, you can type, or you just talk to text. There's ways around this stuff now.
He just wrote. He did the screenplay for the animated version of Babylon 5 that's coming out.
There's an animated series.
There's gonna be a one-shot animated movie, and then it's supposed to be like a reboot, but it's on the fucking CW. So man, I don't hold much hope there. I don't blame Straczynski for just taking the chick and running, but we'll see. But he's still active. He still does stuff. So
yeah. AWA he's put on a lot of good stuff.
Absolutely. Yeah. So I guess in this context, I think we kind of said before, but who's the favorite character? And let's go ahead and rate the series.
Okay, I'm gonna go with favorite character. It'd have to be Steve Rogers was cool, but it'd be Peter Parker or Reed Richards. I'll go with Reed Richards.
Oh, let me just without interrupting you. Tonight we're officially starting that new grading scale. Where we go from A+ to a D+. Stealing that from Verno, who stole that from Dylan, and we're going to steal it from him, and we're going to go ahead and do that. Didn't want to do it last week, but I'll steal it this week. So remember A through D when you get to rating it. So go ahead.
Right. Or am I rating it? I'll give this. It's hard for me. I'm picking shit that I had profound effects and that I love. So I'm gonna give this one a 5. I could see someone at 4.5 is solid.
Hey, letter.
Oh, damn it. An A. I'm gonna give this
pluses.
one.
We got pluses and minuses.
Can we not do an A+? I'll give this one a solid A. I won't bolster it but I'll give it a solid A. I think it's sorry, my nephew's throwing a tantrum. But I'm gonna give it an A. I think it's like 16 years later. I just still think it stands up very well. Like this is a timeless read. You can read it at any point and you can have no context to Marvel and still read this and get a lot out of it. So I'm gonna give this an A. It's a fun read. I'm gonna mute myself, but guys, do your thing.
What's about you, Fable?
Yeah, I'd probably say that Reed Richards, Nick Fury is my favorite character. I think he's the most fleshed out besides Steve Rogers. Steve Rogers' journey. Everybody else kind of like had quick things with them, like Banner getting bit and becoming. It's like off to the side. They focus a lot narratively on Parker and Rogers and. Oh my God, I'm losing my brain here.
Reed.
Thank you. Reed, Nick Fury.
Yeah.
Reed and
I would have liked to see more intimate moments with Parker. Now that you say that,
Parker. Yeah, he was kind of there. They say, oh, he's rebellious, and he became the Hulk. But then, like once,
and then he ran off. Yeah.
It's like, so yeah, I would agree. To me, it's Nick Fury, Reed Richards, and rating. I'm gonna give this I'm gonna give this a B plus. I'm gonna give this a B plus. Um, Nothing
Respect.
groundbreaking here for me. I have read, plenty of what ifs, and I love what ifs. It's one of my
Yeah,
favorite
yeah.
genres, and this is one of the best ones. Like, you know what I mean? It's really entertaining. It's really good. Um, yeah, but it could be a little wordy. Text boxes a lot. They intimidate me particularly. I'm not putting that on anybody else. You know what I mean? But
No, yeah,
when
yeah.
when the writing is done well and it flows, it's all good. And this is one of those that you can feel comfortable when you see the box. It's just read. Just read.
Yeah,
It's
well
good.
said.
It's gonna
Yep.
flow. So yeah, this is a good tale, man. A good tale. Solid tale. Hell yeah. B plus, man.
Scarfhead.
I am going to give it an A also. As I said, I like the fact that it is kind of self-contained. You can pick this book up not really knowing anything or very little about the Marvel Universe and still get it. The story's tight in 5 issues. The artwork is great. It really supports the story. And the characters, all the revisions of the characters are kind of true to the characters, even though they swapped alter egos. That's the best point I think I like about it. My favorite character is probably, I was gonna say the Hulk because I really love the Hulk, but the Hulk, let's face it, the Hulk don't fucking do nothing. But in this
I mean, that's a good choice.
the Hulk kind of just is the Hulk. I'm gonna give it to Reed Richards and Nick Fury because I think that's the most interesting story in
Yeah.
this. Not that this thing was designed to like be this big, close up look of these characters. It's just kind of like they're bullet points in the story. The characters are the bullet points.
Mhm.
And
Right.
Yeah. Yep.
narratively, he goes through each, each act of the bullet, its repercussions, and what happens down the line. It's pretty straightforward narrative, and then we get the characters sprinkled in as the bullet points within that narrative. The only thing I might ding this for, and it's not a fault of this, but I read this as a trade, and this is a problem. I guess you have to do this in a series, but I felt there was a lot of recap. I felt like every
Yeah.
issue there was too much recap. I mean, I
Well, not
understand why I
necessarily.
understand why they're doing that, but when you're reading it as a trade and you're reading like 5 issues of like there's a page at least of like a recap, it gets to be a little bit much. But
There, no, I see what you mean. I to counter this because it's a good point, but their recap was done a little bit differently. Like you said, I don't think the one with JFK and Muhammad Gandhi was that issue 1 or was that like later on?
I
Because I
think it
feel
was
like
1 or 2.
what okay, but they would do the recap and they'd show some things we'd already seen. It's always start off with the bullet,
Mhm.
Right,
but
Mhm.
sometimes one issue would tell you about what a bullet does and how a bullet was designed, its
right.
trajectory, and how. So they did it
Mhm.
in a unique way. I get what you mean, but I think the
Yeah.
recap pages were
And that's
done
not
in a
blame me
unique
or the
way.
writer. It's when they wrote these things, they weren't thinking, "Gee, I better not put this in here in case you're reading it's a trade paperback sometime down the line." Nowadays, I think they might think that
That's
way.
true. Yeah. No, I was gonna say this. So you
But
know
back
they.
then, I don't think they did. They were all individual issues. So,
Yeah. Yeah.
so
Yeah.
I can't blame them for that. I can't ding them for that. I still give them an
Yeah. Yeah. If I
Respect.
had to ding it for some, like the reason I probably went a B plus is because some things were unnecessary, even though they were told they were like the whole Spider-Man.
The Bruce Banner bit
Yeah, that was
that it didn't add anything. You could have
didn't
not
add.
had that change, and the story
Yeah.
would have played out the same. Yeah,
Yeah, and
yeah,
we could have used those pages to get more Reed Richards
yep,
Fury action,
yeah,
which we all
bro.
which we
That
all
man,
love.
Marvel, please, you heard it. There's a fan base for Reed Richards as director of Shield.
Yeah,
Let's
I'm
get some
digging it.
going.
Well,
Yeah.
I think look at DC. They're going nuts. They have this whole sub universe now with the whole was it the White Knight version of Batman? I mean, that's coming out under like Harley Quinn, and here's the White Knight version of the
It's
Joker,
its
and
own
here's
universe,
it's his
Batman
own
Beyond
universe.
version. Yeah,
Mhm.
No, and I think maybe Marvel did that with all the like 2099 stuff, kind of, sort of. So they've done
alternate
that
universe, which is coming back.
before.
Yeah.
So I still think they did a pretty good job for back then, for back 2006.
Yeah.
Which
Oh,
was a whole different
Yeah.
world. Oh, there was one
Great
shot.
era.
You know, I was going to ask. I can't pull up now, but there's a shot like toward the end of the book,
Let's see if I can find it.
and it almost like looks like it's the Twin Towers. Is that what they meant that to be? What I don't understand that shot.
I mean, it could have been because like
Because they're
this was
talking about
shortly
the
after.
Well, it's 5 years after, but they're talking about the people. All that. I thought they were alluding to the
But
Twin
in
Towers.
2006, if you go back in 2006, there were like 2 or 3 movies that there was a movie called World Trade Center that was like a hot year for them. Dang, nephew.
Well, I think
But that
maybe
was
they
a
just
big.
used, yeah. But that's what you think that is in that panel. You think that's what it's like the World Trade Center.
I
That's
think
what
it was like a
is.
homage to
Right.
like the trade centers.
Right.
Because I know Michael Straczynski was really affected by that when he was writing Spider-Man, because he had a lot of references or homages to that throughout his Spider-Man run, which is he was still working on Spider-Man when he wrote this. I think he started in like 2002 maybe, and he left in like 2000, late 2007, beginning of 2008 when Brand New Day was coming out. So he had a few references about the World Trade Centers in his stories at the time, or around this time.
Yeah. So anybody else have any follow up for this? Anything else you want to say?
Go read it if you haven't. Treat yourself.
Yeah,
It's worth it.
Go read it. It's a great what if story, and Marvel. What the hell? Let's get What If as an ongoing series again, man. We love this stuff, man. Yeah, like what's going on? Like, you could do 5-issue arc What Ifs if you want. That's fine. You don't have to do every
just
issue.
keep it going.
Just
Right.
keep it going. Yeah, like.
Did you guys watch that What If thing on Disney? I didn't catch it, but I understand it wasn't that great.
I enjoyed it. I don't know. I had fun with it. I didn't take it that seriously, but
Yeah.
I think this
some episodes were better than others.
Well,
right.
I think they're supposed to be bringing that back too, from what I understand.
Yeah, season 2. Yep.
But I'm gonna have to go back and rewatch it because I didn't get to see that, but it looked interesting.
It was fun.
Abel, any last comments before we shoot you?
Yeah, no, like I said, man. I hope they continue this kind of thing, man. I used to eat this stuff up as a kid, and when they're done well, they can be really, really memorable.
Is that the shot you were talking about?
No, it's not. No, it's not in the lower right-hand corner. It's like
because they're right here, the Twin Towers.
No, it's toward the last pages. Go to the end of the
This
book.
is the last page. This is the last page. It's because there's the funeral right here. Sorry, I catch you guys.
I think it's that was more after that. Yeah, go back then. Go back one. It's in the lower right-hand corner. It looks like two buildings together in silhouette.
Might be different since because that's like it's one of the last pages, the one I just showed you. It's because you got
I'll tell you where it is.
You got the funeral right there, right?
No, this is the very last page.
The very last page.
No,
those are the tombstones. You remember Maze looking?
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm dumb. Never mind.
No, it's all right.
Oh, it's okay.
God damn it, Scarface.
I thought it was thinking of World Trade Center. What the fuck?
Yeah.
Oh, is that what you thought was the World Trade Center?
Yes, bro. Yes, right there. Yeah.
By the time I got to the end of the book, I was probably stoned. You know how it is. But very good. So, hey, well, thank everybody for coming in and talking about this. Another good crowd, another banger. Are we ever get to it? We gotta get to a book that
I gotta get one. Shit.
I gotta get one that Link is gonna absolutely hate, because we need to.
We gotta find some Burial Ground books or some shit like that.
Can't. There's gotta be an adaptation of Burial Ground. There's gotta be something. I told him I'm gonna hit him up with the gold key stuff at some point. But I don't know when I gotta get too bad. Next week, my pick, and we're still not going too old here. We're gonna go and look at the first. You gotta
start. Oh, did you pick it?
Yes, I did.
Okay.
We're gonna look at the first series of Marvel's Predator book by Ed Brisson, Day of the Hunter.
Okay.
We're gonna
Kev Walker, hell yeah.
Yeah, so we're gonna watch. I guess they're into already the second series is out of this, and they're through like 3 series of Alien. I gotta go through and read them because they're supposed to be.
Yeah, I'm still behind on the first.
And Ed Brisson,
I like the first.
Ed Brisson has written a lot of good stuff in the past that I've read and I've liked. So we'll be interested to see take on the Predator is, and see if they stand up to some of those old Dark Horse comics, which were pretty good, actually. Correctly. So that's what we'll be reading next week. Predator.
What's
Ed
the 6
Brisson,
issues, the first arc?
Day of the Hunter, and the 6 issues.
Okay.
So 5 or 6 issues, I think. I did actually have a secondary pick. I was telling Fable, but it's not done. There's one more issue to come out, and once it comes out, we'll probably do it next month. So we'll see. We'll see
I'm
what
curious
happens.
to know what it is. Marvel or DC?
Neither. It's Image.
Indie. Okay. Okay.
So make sure you come back for Predator, another Marvel Universe book. We'll hopefully get back into some more indies. And maybe Black Science coming up.
I was just gonna say I've mapped out my picks.
That's up the link. He's picked for a year in advance.
Yeah, don't worry, guys. You know what? I'll announce it here for our handful of watches. Black Science will be my next pick. So we're gonna do Black Science Volume 2, 2 weeks from now.
I thought maybe say we're gonna do Volume 4. I can do that one first, and then we'll skip to another volume.
Well, if someone's just tuning in, maybe they didn't know.
Well, no, it's good. I mean, it's good that you're doing it this quick because I'm fucking old. I barely remember what I read.
That's another thing. Yeah, I don't want us to lose the momentum. I
appreciate you, my fading memory. In fact,
call me when you guys get to Infinity Gauntlet. If you ever cover,
that's a rather large.
Yeah. No, yeah, that's a.
I'd be down to cover that though.
Yeah, hell yeah.
Wow, that's to the docket.
Yeah, but that's almost like that has a lot of side books and stuff like that too.
I mean, you can just cover the main series.
Yeah,
really. You can just cover the main series, and if you want, maybe I don't know, a few issues of Silver Surfer, because Silver Surfer is the one you have to read to lead up to Infinity.
Okay.
Well, I think
I'd be down for that.
They have an omnibus out that has like all the side books too. So get that, and you can read it all.
Yeah, I'll stick with the main series and Silver Surfer.
All right. Well, thank everybody that came in from the chat here. Blood Splatter Chatter, who was here late. Hey, good show tonight. Talking about some
Possessor. Brandon Cronenberg.
A movie I understand with lots of dicks in it. If you watch the video, it's explained there.
Really? Was it super bad?
Has a fair share.
When I was a little kid, I had this problem.
Uh-oh.
I was obsessed with drawing dicks. No, that's a reference to Superbad.
I got you, man. Well, thanks back to doing Fan Club, Sal, everybody else that was in here earlier. Thank you for coming in. See you next week. We're going to be doing...
And our guest, Fable, thank you for hopping on with us, brother.
Fable. You
some time out of your schedule.
You got some shows coming up?
Just had a little small show this past weekend.
This past weekend
Comic
we had this little guy. Yeah, you might have heard.
So I'm a little Comic Con dude.
His friend Ryan. Yeah, they were on. They got this comic book coming out. We talked about that. And, a few other news topics. But yeah, man, go check that out. Comic Time, Fire Guy Ryan talking about Crashdown and Whatnot Publishing. And let me tell you guys, it was the most candid I've seen Tom in a long time. Like,
absolutely.
Tom has a lot of energy, he's his character, and but here he was just hitting us with information, letting us know the real deal behind the scenes. It's a real good watch. I'm not just saying that because it's my show. It's just like if you're a fan of Comic Time, I would suggest you watch that because it was really good.
It's Instagram, man. It's a lot more down home and personal than YouTube is. So.
Yes.
That's where you're gonna get it is on Instagram. But now that we love you, YouTube. Make sure you give us a lot of subscriptions.
Oh yeah. I'm on YouTube too, man.
And Facebook, we're on Facebook too. Well, what the fuck is on Facebook? But hey, that's whatever.
But yeah,
they own Instagram, so we're cool with them.
Go check that out. And of course, we got a show hopefully this Saturday at 1 p.m. Eastern. I'm waiting for my work schedule, but if everything goes right, we'll have official, unofficial geek Carrie joining us this Saturday. And Nick can't join us, but that's okay because I got my special co-host Missing Link will be joining me co-hosting that show. So Yeah, come join us
Gonna be
this
a good
Saturday.
show.
You know, we like to hang out. We like to have fun. It's always a good time over there.
Well, Fable,
So-
remember, Fable. Link likes to get paid every other week. He makes me pay him every week.
Link,
So make sure
Link
you get
is
those checks
on.
out.
Link is on borrow to your show. You got to
Oh,
remember,
no,
he's
no,
part
no,
of the
no,
Blame
no,
Fable
no.
Network
What's
originally.
well, all
Okay?
right. That's
That
good. You can have
This is
that.
true.
That
This is
contract
true.
never ends.
You can have
Okay?
You can take him. He can't be replaced. We know that. So. Yeah, well, thank Fable for taking some time out tonight, and all you guys
Oh,
who
yeah.
watch live, which we're
Thanks
not
for
usually
inviting me,
live,
guys.
so we can cut out all the good stuff. I want to thank you all for coming in. We'll catch you next week for Ed Brisson and the Predator, and see
Kev
if
Walker.
let me see if that holds up to the Dark Horse series. I have a feeling it probably will. I think it will.
I haven't
Anything
read
else?
too much Predator, Dark Horse. No,
Anything else to say, guys? Station all
that.
next week.